right about now. The recording is still loading. Okay. Now you should be able to see the message that it's being recorded. Okay, so if you see large number of labs during the week, try to maintain your schedule accordingly. Especially if you, I know I read your introduction messages. I'm sorry I did not reply anybody yet, but I know many of you already have experience in IT, already been taking classes in networking, and you're already familiar with some of materials. But try to, if you see like 2-3 labs, try to do at least lab a day. What I suggest to students, try to do at least one assignment a day, and then you will be able to complete everything by Friday. Sunday would be your due date. Tuesday night would be your hard due date. So I will still have this grace period for students between Sunday and the meeting in the class, when you still will be able to submit your assignments. If, again, it's more just to give flexibility, because I understand you have different classes. This is not your only class. Many of you have jobs and kids, and I just want to help to be successful in this class. So you will have this 2 extra days just in case you are not finishing your assignments on time. So your due date is always Sunday night. I also suggest students, as I stated here in this greeting page, I want all of you to have weekends off. I tried to work previously without weekends, without time off, and I burn out. I don't want anybody to burn out by the end of the semester. Especially if you have job, if you have family, and they need you. They need you on the weekend. So try to work the way that you complete all your assignments before the weekend. And you will see how much you can accomplish if you will put some schedule in place for yourself when you study. Again, people have different approach regarding notes. I'm a big note taker. If I don't write something on a page of piece of paper, I just cannot memorize it. But that's me. Some people typing notes. Some people don't need notes. They good at reading a couple times and they remember material. I stated in my introduction that I'm actually having some learning difficulties, and that's true. I've been diagnosed with ASD and ADHD, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I've been very open about it because I do not believe that any disabilities will limit us if we find the right approach to learn. Now, once we're done with this, let's go ahead back to our homepage. If you have
Professor, I
any
have a
general,
question.
yes.
So for the book, when I went to go download the book earlier, I activated it and it didn't ask me to
Mm,
like log in with a username and password, but when I bookmarked it and went to go back in, now it's asking for a username and password. Is it just our student ID?
did,
And
did you create your username and password on the publisher page? Or it didn't ask for anything?
it didn't ask for anything.
Did anybody else had the same issue? Because as instructor, I don't have this issue, but I created account with them even before I activated my book. So as I believe you still have to, like after activation, to create your account with the publisher.
Okay. All right, I will do that.
Yeah, I didn't
Uh,
have to either.
okay, I also will provide you with the phone number and email of the person who does support for this specific book, this specific materials. So in case you will running into any issues with the material, with the book itself, you can contact this person.
Okay.
But yes, I will try to fix as much as possible on my end, so you will guys have seamless access to the book. But creating an account, I believe that's something you have to do. If you have any questions, that is not like personal question, but something you might think that other students might have also in their mind to ask, please just post it in the general questions. I would reply all these questions on Wednesday right after our meeting with class. Well, not right after, because right after I will have to go to pick up my son from school traditionally on Wednesdays. But right after I get home, that's when I'm going to answer all these questions right here. So you can see basically a Q&A. Like you can see here, somebody is asking me if even they're online, if they can attend the class. And yes, I already answered this question. You more than welcome to attend in person if you absolutely need to, and if you feel it will benefit you. If you cannot, because I know some of you working and maybe even joining right now this meeting from work, and you experiencing some difficulties in completing assignments, you don't understand how to do it. Your computer might running into issues. First of all, I'm going to be in my office physically, as it's stated on my schedule, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But it doesn't mean I cannot connect to you remotely from my office. So it would be possible that we will schedule in-person meeting, but not in my office. I mean, in-person meeting online. And on Thursdays, I also have 2 hours, my office hours, that completely web remote. And the reason I scheduled this way, because some of the students that in this class right now, they had to join online and in-person classes in North Las Vegas campus when their class in Henderson was canceled. And their class in Henderson was supposed to be on Thursdays at 6 p.m. So we decided, well, me and department, we decided that it would be just good idea to be available at these hours for students who also available in these hours and need my help. I'm promoting everybody to use Google. For many classes that I teach, I keep telling to students that art of Googling will help you to get in IT industry fairly easy if you know how to Google. So if you have some technical question with your computer when you're trying, for example, install operating system or install your virtual machine, before you ask for my help, it would be great idea to use Google. And there are a lot of information if you're Googling, if a lot of information if you're trying to learn, and that's what IT is all about, actually. When you work in a field, most often you don't go and ask questions of your coworkers, because why would you ask something that you can find online, right? But I do understand that some of you don't have any IT background here, and that's totally okay with me. I'm more than welcome to give you a helping hand and even send you the link where you can find information if you couldn't find it by yourself through the Googling. This week, we actually starting with the just introductory, but next week's is going to be even more hands-on approach. So be prepared to do a lot of on your computers. Some of the labs, and I have to leave my student view so I can show you NetLab environment. Starting next week, you will have access to NetLabs. So you will have these labs posted for your week assignments. They will be here as assignment submission form. So if you go Net Labs, that means you have to, this is just submission form. This submission form, if you will open, will have additional information for you. So you will actually get some help here. Don't ignore it. Read it, watch the video if there is video posted. And you will be able to submit your video recording of completing this lab. Yes, I require you to do, before I was telling to students, make APA formatted report on completion of the lab. But then I figured, why to make student to create the report and submit PDF when they can simply record themselves doing this lab? And that's what I wanted to do. That's why I posted here a few links to video recordings software. You're more than welcome to use something else if you like different software. I have no problems with that. I personally prefer to use OBS screen recording software. It's not just screen, you can record yourself as well when you need to, uh, because it's free. It's fairly easy to use. Yes, it requires some learning curve. You might have to watch some YouTube videos how to set up correctly. I had students sending me questions that they cannot see their screen. The screen is black, but guess what? If they actually watched tutorials on YouTube how to fix these problems, they would be able to fix it. That's the problem. Like, students give up before they even try to fix it, and I don't want that in this class. Before you say, I don't know how to, try to actually overcome this and fix it on your own. That's what we do in IT. The video, it's online resource. It's like you don't have to install anything. You have up to 10 minutes recording, so it would be great if you do some video replies, because we're going to have some assignments where you will have to do video replies. And that's when you can use it. Doesn't require you any learning. You just create your account. It's has very simple interface. You will not need any settings on your computer with this. But again, it has limitations to 10 minutes. So if you decide to go with these options, most likely you will need to break your video in multiple videos. Then once your video recording is done, I want you to upload this video on YouTube. Make sure you create separate YouTube channel for your class for submissions. I don't want anybody to use their personal accounts. And when you create this special YouTube account where you will be uploading your recordings, please make sure you make those videos unlisted before you share them with me or anyone else. Unlisted means that only people with the link can see the video. Because if you will make it private, it would not be possible for me to see your video if I'm not part of your group. And if you will make it public, anyone can see, and that might violate some of the regulations that we have for this course. And we have specific requests from publisher not to openly show some parts of the book or labs. So please make sure it's unlisted. Study tools. All the study tools are for you to study for the exam, study for the course, but they are not graded. So basically what we was working with publisher and author of the book, that we will create some sort of gamified approach for students to study. I'm a strong believer that when you're playing a game while you're learning, just like in students in elementary school, they have all these learning games that they playing and learning at the same time. you don't feel like you struggling to memorizing something. So matching activity flashcards. I'm personally not a big user of flashcards. I know some people swear by it. For me, it was more one of the options for you. But matching activity, when you work with the different topics, when you have to memorize different terminology, would be excellent. Same with vocabulary game, where you have to find right description for the right vocabulary word from cybersecurity perspective, obviously. Sample security questions, they are very similar to what you will have on Security Plus exam from CompTIA. They are not the same. Nobody is allowed to use the same questions from the CompTIA's question banks. They not even publicly released anywhere. But people who worked on these questions, they already security certified, and not just that, they are authors of Security Plus exam itself. So they are the people who wrote questions for the certification exam. That's why I say these questions would definitely help you to prepare for the Security Plus certifications. Online study guide, again, it's you can save this as a PDF. You can print it out and just use it for yourself so you memorize. Like, I don't care about this study guide because when I'm reading, some people highlight, I just write everything in my notebook. Just that's the way I learn. Since everybody has different approach to learning, this is one of them. So if you will find this helpful, that's amazing. That's mean we've done this job with the author and publishers really good. And it's amazing that this resource helped you. You also can use right here online. I'm just showing is not gonna save, but again, if you're using online and then you leave this page, it will not save any data because once you return, it will have also empty fields. Um, but you can save it as a PDF with already filled up answers, so you can later keep for yourself and just go back and sort of relearn from this. And I'm not going to save, I don't need it. Mind maps. So here I posted for you link to MindMacer. Again, there are many software options for opening mind maps. I like to learn by creating mind maps. I'm going to show you one of them. Okay, I need to stay with basic. I don't need to purchase anything. And you please don't unless you want to spend some money, but you can upload up to 3 mind maps. And I will be sharing my mind maps with you. If you will download this mind maps and upload it to your MindMacer, you will be able to do editing. You will be able to add some information to it, and please do. That's created for you so you can work with that. With every chapter, I would try to create one mind map. Like this week, I was planning, and I'm still planning. I'm going to do this to create mind map regarding different standards for cybersecurity, but that's something for you to know and show you. Again, with free account, you will be able to upload only 3 mind maps at the time. So what I do with free account, I just upload mind map when I work with that and then delete it, and basically not delete it. I save it on my hard drive and delete it from the MindMacer. So I have space for another mind map or create new mind map. Uh, you can do the same. Okay, I covered pretty much everything here. And let's go back to assignments. But before we're going to start working on assignments and talk about the first chapter, um, last week of this semester, I scheduled, if you went through my syllabus, you see that last week has a chapter that dedicated to employment. Every year, I'm also part of Women's Society in Cyber Jitsu, and when we have new women joining our community, I have the same questions asked: how to break into cybersecurity, how to break into IT. So I decided if people asking this question during our meetings with the Women's Society and Cyber Jitsu group, probably that's what my students have in mind every time too. And I had a group of students working with me during Black Hat, and I was watching them asking these questions other professionals who already work in cybersecurity and getting a lot of information, a lot of help from these professionals. So I create this idea with the author of the book when we start working on this book that we need to address this. None of the books, unfortunately, previously was addressing how to get a job question. And during the last week of the semester, we will be hosting this not job fair, but it's going to be career week where we will be working on our resumes, when we will be writing our cover letters, when we will be practicing interviews. And I invited to be on our meeting during the class on last week of the semester, recruiter from Tanium Security. She already sent me a message that she will definitely join, and we will have a couple people who work in industry already, in cybersecurity industry, who will be able to do mocking interviews with the students. So please do not ignore this week. And I'm sure you're here in college, not just to learn uh, about what are you going to do in your future career, but also how to get into this future career. And I know that some of you, at least from the introductions, already working. You more than welcome to participate on the other end, not as a student, but as someone who would be hiring a person. So you would be more than welcome to be an interviewer for that week. You just have to make sure you notify me and let me know that what you want to do. I also would highly suggest you to join Discord. Links to the Discord posted in syllabus. We have Cyber Club meetings. Meetings are day approximately, that's not 100%. I haven't got messages yet from my Cyber Club guys. Going to be on Friday evenings, in person and web remote. So please come and participate in Cyber Club. A, you will get additional hands-on experience. B, it would be something you will put on resume. C, you will be able to participate in activities that we will not have cover in this class. So you will learn something additionally. And you will also be able, if you will join Discord right now, get some help there. I am big fan of networking, and not just networking as putting cables or setting wireless network. No, I'm a big fan of interconnecting people. And I personally know that all my previous jobs, after I was able to leave my not this career related jobs and transition into IT, I got through the networking. And when you are looking for a job, is not often what you know, it's often who you know. So if you work with professionals, if you communicate with professionals, if you get yourself visible and not in getting noticed, I would guarantee you will not have a problem finding a job. It's not our field has a lot of potential and has a lot of jobs. And biggest problem that people do suffer, especially recent graduates, women, other minority groups suffer from this imposter syndrome. Am I good enough? Yes, you are. If you really like this field, if you really want to be here, you are good enough, but you have to understand there is really no free time in IT. There is really no, like, I left the college and I'm done. You will constantly learn and practice and take additional courses and trainings, and you will have to maintain your certification and receive your CPE points for this certification so it will not expire. You will be constantly taking some certification exams and it would never stop. It has to become more than just your school right now. It has to become part of your life. That's the only way to do it in cybersecurity and IT. And also, I don't want to say cybersecurity and IT anymore as a separate fields because I do believe that there is no IT without cybersecurity and there is no cybersecurity without IT. It's no longer even like separate majors, separate topics. If you go into networking, you most likely will need knowledge of cybersecurity. And if you say, I don't care about networking, I want to be in cybersecurity, hell, you're wrong. Yes, you are. You really need to know how computers work. You need to know how they operate. You need to know parts of hardware, software. You need to know basics of computer programming. If you don't know how to write Bash script, if you don't know how to write Python script, you better to learn it now. And that's how we roll. So if you're going into networking, cybersecurity is part of your job. If you're going into digital forensics and you say, I'm a digital, yes. Somebody wants to say something? Nope, okay. So if you're going into digital forensics field, you absolutely 100% would need to learn how to build computer, because when you're dealing with digital forensics, it's not about software often, it's about hardware. You will need to know how to do basic scripting in Python, because sometimes to retrieve some data from your what we call data garbage, you will need to write a couple lines of code to get this done. And if you don't know basics of Python, you better to learn it. If you say that you don't need Linux because you are such a GUI user and GUI means graphic interface, well, you better reconsider this because command line interface is our everything. So you better get yourself comfortable with typing your commands and not just drag and drop. And that's how we live. That's our everyday lives. We just try to educate ourselves first before we even ask anybody for help and ask anybody questions. So that's why I said Googling is really important in this class. And some of you I know doing web development, and you guys planning to be front-end, back-end developers. Guess what? If you don't know anything about cybersecurity and web development now, There are very little chance you will get hired because you don't know how to write secure code, how to address policies, how to, like, you better know this aspect too. So web development with cybersecurity also goes just like two best friends together. And what I also advise sometimes when I see like people, oh, I'm web developer, I don't need cybersecurity. I'm like, well, application security is not just important, but also pays well. So if you just consider yourself a code monkey and you will be writing bad code, I was almost using SH word. What kind of web developer you are, what kind of programmer you are. So you need to know how to write your code secure to make sure your code is already uh, pre-qualified for security standards. And we're going to learn about security artifact today. I will cover this topic that's directly based on application security. So yes, please learn about cybersecurity no matter what field you're going into. And I also noticed that they have few students who are changing career from, I think I saw someone coming with the law background. It's amazing. I mean, when you have law background in cybersecurity, there are so many opportunities for you with the law degree. We need people in cybersecurity who actually know how to talk to the business people and how, if you're coming with the business degree, we know people who can tell you you cannot do this because it's illegal, because they know the law. And if you're coming from medical field, oh my God, I'm rooting for you, because there is not less secure place in entire industry than medical field. Outdated systems, people who know nothing about security, and systems that never had security in place in the first place. So if you are transitioning from the medical field, consider to study more on cybersecurity on the medical side. Trust me, you will find a job on the fly. You will get yourself your 6 figures from the start, and you will actually excel in it because you already know your field, and now you will be able to get another layer of knowledge and skills to that field. If you want to talk about this, we will talk a little later about medical security, how bad it is, because before I start teaching, I was practicing some ethical hacking, learning curve of ethical hacking. And I was introduced to the person who does specifically medical devices hacking. And I was working with this person for almost 6 months just because I was fascinated with this field. I was fascinated how they still producing insulin pumps that you attach to your body that's supposed to automatically send insulin to your body without any layer of protection from being hacked. Like, I was like, what do you mean there is no authentication? Yeah, basically there is none. So basically this device controlled by my mobile phone can be hacked, and somebody can just make me to get these injections and die from overdose. And this person was like, yep, that's possible. So please, when you say I'm changing my career path, and if it's not the change that you just want to dramatically change, like you got fed up with medical field, you don't want to deal with that anymore, just think about more not changing the field, but transitioning. You will be more successful as a medical cybersecurity professional if you have medical background. You will be more successful in a law cybersecurity if you already have law background. So just think about that. And if you're brand new, fresh out of school here, and you have this romanticized idea about info security as something, I'm gonna be a hacker. I have to tell you, either you're a hacker already or you're not. You cannot be a hacker after taking class. Some of the most sophisticated hackers, they don't even have college degree. They don't have certifications. They don't care about the certifications. They have hacker's mind and they have hacker skills, and they're willing to spend hours going to the rabbit hole just to do something they love. So some of the people who coming and say, I want to be a hacker, for some reason, they think that learning tools and learning how to use them would place them into this position. No, you were born with this set of mind. Hacker is not your profession. Hacker is your lifestyle. Hacker is the set of mind. Hacker is what you are. Like with my personal life experience, I've been disassembling electronics and I've been trying to find different way of using it since I was kid. And not just because my father, who was also in IT engineering in the Russian military, was forcing me to do this. No, that's just how my brain worked. I've been installing operating systems and trying to avoid some implications in Russia. We're on the recording. I'm going to be quiet about this. When I was 12. So that was my life. And I cannot imagine that I was never interested in IT, never done any little hacks. And then I decided to go to college because I want to learn about it. And everybody in industry who already works, they will tell you, if you don't have a strong passion for IT, and if you just join in this field because you think it pays a lot of money and I can make a big dollar and provide for my family, um, hopefully you will find this passion, and then you will be providing for your family and enjoying your work. B, if you will start, like if you graduated, got all the certification, and you started your new job in InfoSec, you will burn out. You cannot do the job you don't like. Remember saying, find the job that you love and you never have to work again? So what happened with me, why I'm teaching right now? I was placed in really bad company where I realized that I'm not really good working under someone's leadership who doesn't really have leadership skills. I would be better on my own. And then I was running my own business, quite successful. And I had this dream of just passing my knowledge and teaching others and helping others to learn what I know and motivate them. And as I say, I'm an influencer, not the Instagram type. And I was at the conference talking to some people from CSN and saying that I just applied at LA City College and I got invited to teach as adjunct. But I do feel like it's something that I'm very passionate about. And I know I have here some of my students who joined my class for second, third time. I do put my students first. I'm trying to understand all of your needs. And if I see you struggling, but not struggling because you're not trying, struggling because you really have to overcome some problems in your life, just reach out, just talk to me, just ask for help. Don't afraid, don't wait till the last moment. I'm trying not to be after hours accessible because I still want to have my own life. And I'm trying not to reply your messages during the weekends because I also want to have my family. I want my family to have me during the weekends. So, but I'm also really bad at this. If I see my student need me and reaching out during, I don't know, like Saturday evening on a Discord and saying like, Miss Morningstar, I'm just devastated. I think I've done everything that I could, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I usually say, okay, let's just jump on a video call and maybe I can get remote access to your computer and let's see what we can do together. I've done that. Again, trying not to do because my family deserves to have me for the weekend, but I'm also trying to put you guys in a position where you feel that your instructor is not just here to give you, here's your boring lecture with the slides and you're on your own. So if you have some family issues and you're not able to submit your assignments on time, things happened during the pandemic. You can get sick, your family can get sick. I wish not, but things happened. Just reach out, just tell me about it, and you will get extension as much as you need. If you go back to the syllabus, I am giving I, which is incomplete, to students who need it. There are different circumstances. It says that you cannot get anything but C even if you complete all the assignments after incomplete. Here's the reasoning. It would not be fair to the students who complete all their assignments on time. And if you're completing one of the assignments, two of the assignments late, most likely in different classes, you will get points reduction, right? So at the end of the semester, you will not get the number of points that students who submitted everything on time. So most likely it's not going to be A at the end of the semester, even if you submitted all your assignments, but they were late. So it's going to be a lower grade. Same with incomplete. That means you were not able to finish all your assignments before the end of the semester. That means I reduced your grade, even if after you completing everything excellently, by 30%. There was situation with military students who were deployed when I actually changed my policy, and I'm being straight up forward with you. Please do not abuse my kindness. I am really happy to help, but when I feel like students lying to me and trying to abuse me for just getting a good grade because they don't want their GPA to drop, I'm getting extremely frustrated. Like from kind and lovable Miss Morningstar, I'm becoming really mean person, and I don't like myself when I'm mean. I really don't. And I also feel like I don't deserve this because I do try to help everyone and each one, and I believe in all of your success. But honesty and hard work is everything for me. So I do want to see this in all of my students. And I'm I'm an empath. I do feel oft also when person is not really honest. So like just don't try to lie to me. Like I've done social engineering in the past, and when I like to like when I hear somebody is bullshitting me, I'm like, don't bullshit, bullshitter, please, just don't. I am here for you when you need me, but when you're just trying to do something that is not responsible and not very showing you as a good person, I would not gonna be jumping through the hoops for you. So I had military families who need to be deployed, and that's why I had to give them I, and that was the only reason when their I was changed to not C but actually A grade, because when you're in the military, there is not a lot of options for you to study. Sometimes you don't have internet access. I also had a a student whose family passed away from COVID, like his entire family passed away. And he was devastated and mentally destroyed. And I would be a shitty person if I just say, well, that's not my problem, right? You failed the class. That's it. So that was the one of the circumstances when I said, it's fine. I will change I for A grade after you complete all your assignments. And I kept my word. So just what do you see in the syllabus? That's something that we all need to write. And I'm trying to be fair for everyone and treat all of you equally. But at the same time, we'll have our individuality and individual problems that probably don't put you in the same position with everybody else, right? So again, don't afraid to talk to me. If you have learning disabilities and you don't have DRC letter forwarded to me, but you have diagnosed learning disabilities, please make sure you go to DRC, because without their letter, I cannot give you recommendations. It's really important that I will get that. But again, it's need to be officially diagnosed so they can give you the recommendations. You cannot just tell me, oh, I have Asperger. That's why I need my 1.5 time for the examination. Well, I understand some of the people with learning disabilities, they have not been diagnosed. They just know they have it. But because of the college rules, I just cannot give you this recommendation without the letter. And if you're still undiagnosed, but you're seeking to be diagnosed, again, reach out to DRC. My syllabus has all information regarding that. They will help you to get diagnosed just to make sure you will get proper recommendation in the class, not just in my class, but all other classes in college. And now let's just jump into lecture. I have slides for you, and I will do a recording of the lecture with the slides separately from this meeting. I want this meeting to be more as getting connected and trying to just learn about this class, learning about me, and I will be trying to learn about you from the discussion board, our introduction discussion board, and we will be talking in the class in person. I will encourage you again, join Discord and talk and communicate and ask questions there. And not just Discord for CSN Cyber Club, especially if you're planning to stay in the cyber field. And let's go. So what is information security? I'm going to move a little bit my microphone. It's kind of bothering me in front of my face. So information security and cybersecurity in general field is the something that protecting the data. So when you have here the term information security, or you hear the term cybersecurity, they pretty much equal. There is no cyber without information. There is no information anymore without cyber. The times when we kept information in the piles of paper in the cabinet locked by the key are no longer exist. Everything is digital, so everything is cyber. Information has a value as it used to have before computers came in place, and it has even more value now because before, to access some secret documents, you had to actually break into the facility and break into the safe. Now breaking in becomes easier. Sometimes you just don't have to even leave your own comfort of your own house to get access to some of that data. So information security refers to the process and procedures that designed to prevent loss of this information, to the data integrity, and definitely identify risks that related to this data, and trying to mitigate and trying to prevent from different integrity or data loss. And you often can hear information security short for InfoSec. CyberSec, not a thing. Some people spell cybersecurity together, some people spell cybersecurity separate. But again, it's pretty much the same thing. And if during the interview somebody will be asking you what is InfoSec, what is information security, and what is cybersecurity, it just defines together. Another term that we will be using often in this course and specific to this course and new networking as well, because network CompTIA certification also getting updated, is IoT, which is Internet of Things. Well, what is happening right now, and it's not even happening right now, it's happened a long time ago, it just keeps getting more and more into the world, is everything is connected. And I like this joke that my toaster got smarter, my house is smart, but I'm getting stupid. Like, we're getting all the smart devices that we're connecting to the network, and we're connecting to our personal computers, and we're connecting to our wearable devices, and we don't even know what they're doing. We absolutely have no idea how these devices are even protected on the network. Give me 1 second, I need to. I had to mute myself. I have this horrible cold and cough, so it's kind of hard. So yes, we are living in very insecure world where we need to figure out how to protect not just the companies we're working for. Like when you're working for organization, they have specifically dedicated people they hire who think on their behalf how to protect them. But us, personally, in our households, we absolutely have no idea often how to protect ourselves. We don't even know if we are secure or not secure. We're installing security cameras around our houses, thinking that this security camera is providing us with the security, when in real case scenarios, somebody can easily hack into our security cameras, CCTV, and then hack into our entire home network and get access to our personal computer and just steal all our information, or maybe infect it with ransomware. So IoT is a big thing. If you have IoT devices in your home, 2 years ago I say just don't. Now I say there is not possibility not to have smart devices anymore. And sometimes when you're shopping around for device, you don't even know it's one of those smart devices, because it most likely have embedded system, but you're not even aware of it. So just learn how to make your network secure. If you're taking network classes, practice it at home. Like, you have to teach what you preach. That's another my approach. I do practice all the secure approaches in my own home network. I have completely separate network for all my smart stupid devices. and I would never allow them to be on the same network that I'm using for my computer, personal computer, for using my college provided computer. So make sure that you understand that too at home, and start practicing security before you got into cybersecurity. Okay, so we covered IoT, and let's talk a little bit information assurance. The job that I hold, not for very long, but for almost 2.5 years after I graduated from Utica College, was information assurance analyst. And will not lie about it, I was not really doing exactly what I was expecting. And I would tell you, when you will take a job that says that you're cybersecurity analyst, there is high possibility that most likely you will not be doing what you expect you are supposed to do in the job. And as information assurance analyst, probably you would think that you will be coming up with policies. You will be identifying vulnerabilities and risks as the description of this profession. Like, it was not my case. When they were hiring an information assurance analyst, they forgot to tell me that the C-level executives don't even understand what it is, and they just heard this fancy name, and they thought that they hiring IT person who knows a little bit about cybersecurity. So I was hired as IT guy with little knowledge of cybersecurity. And when I start implementing what I learned in college and what I'm practicing, uh, I've been meeting like, what, are you crazy? What do you mean we need to like separate networks from our CCTV cameras and our personal computers and our work computers? It's too many networks. How are we going to operate this? How are we going to? No, we're not investing money in this. And that's big problem in InfoSec. Like, you're constantly hitting your head against the wall when you're talking to people who have no idea what they're doing. Like, they're running business and all they care is about getting profit from this business. And if you have ability to convince these people before they actually suffered any losses from getting hacked or losing their customers' data, if you will convince them to invest into cybersecurity, oh my God, you're probably one of those guys who I never met. None of the companies I know start thinking about cybersecurity first before they actually had to suffer from cyber attack, lost any customers' data, uh, lost their web servers. So that's the field for us. And if you have really good skills in business, that's where maybe your skills will get handy. And I'm going to mute myself again for a second. So if you are in a business degree or you have some experience in the business in the past and you're learning about cybersecurity and you're just kind of like, oh, I know how to implement cybersecurity in the company I work. I know how to implement cybersecurity. Well, try to talk to your boss and see what he says. And if you're your own boss and you're here in my class and you're learning about cybersecurity, I'm really happy you are here, because if you're trying to learn something to make your own business secure, you're brilliant. I'm really happy to see you here. Okay, so information assurance is technologically methods of how to secure our data, our information, right? And with that job title, it comes that you're supposed to be able to identify vulnerabilities. And what is vulnerability? It's some flaws in the design of the system. And these flaws need to be identified before they were exploited. So that's part of cybersecurity that's need to be addressed in every business, every aspect. Like identify what risks your company would take and what it's ready to do to protect its assets. And when we're talking about assets, it's one of the big words in cybersecurity that you need to memorize and be able to tell what is assets in any time of the day. Many people think that assets is just computers, technology, tables, chairs in your company. No. Your biggest asset in your company would be your employees. People is number one asset. Number two asset would be information that your company working with, your data, and replaceable assets such as computers and your networks and servers and even your tables, computer desks, and chairs. That's only on the third place. Well, let's just put tables and chairs on the fourth place. So risk is situation that possibly could harm these assets. And there is a formula that helps you to identify what risk each asset can have. So you will have to learn how often some incidents happens with this particular assets. What you can get done to mitigate this before it's even happened. And by identifying these risks and weighting these risks, you're approaching the new topic of risk management. That's what risk management all about. When you evaluating assets and you know exactly how much you can invest and you should invest into minimizing loss from these assets. So if you are trying, and I really like this saying from Professor Messer, I learned, you will not put $10 lock on a $5 bicycle. So if your asset worth less than security implementation that you're trying to put to protect it, is not worth to spending this money. So you have to identify the worth value of each asset before even placing any mitigation for securing this asset. Then let's talk about some risk management terms. So there are a few ways of approaching the risk. If you have some type of risk, first of all, actually I'm sharing right now the screen for no reason. I'm gonna unshare this for now because when we're gonna do the lab and hopefully we're gonna start soon. I'm almost done with talking. That's when I'm gonna share the screen. So when you are actually trying to see what risk mitigation approach you can do to this asset, and you evaluate, right, your risk, you evaluate your asset, you will have approaches such as risk avoidance. And by risk avoidance, great example of bike. How to avoid your bike from, I see somebody has a hand raised. I'm gonna, because when I was sharing the screen, I couldn't see your hands raised. I'm gonna finish this and you guys can talk later. If you have the bike and you don't want this bike to be stolen, The risk avoidance would be just don't buy a bike. You avoided the risk, so that's how you don't have this risk. There are also risk mitigation. So how you can mitigate this risk for the bike to be stolen. You will get some chain and lock, and when you use your bike and you need to leave it for a few minutes somewhere outside, you will use this chain and lock. Make sure this chain and lock doesn't cost more than the bike itself. That's a mitigation approach. And there are also residual risk, right? So this little portion in the risk management where you already did every investment possible to secure this asset, but there's still a little gap that this asset can get lost for one or another reason. Like somebody can come with the cutter for your chain and still steal your bike. That's possible to happen. So this can be approached through the transferring your risk to the insurance company. With cars, we are trying to mitigate every risk possible by using seatbelt, by driving carefully, by watching our surroundings. But that small risk of car accident, in case we get in it, somebody will pay for our medical bills, somebody will pay for our car repair, would be our insurance. So that's a transferring of the risk. And the reason I'm trying to point out how important it is, because I see students ignoring this base of cybersecurity, information security. And then I had a student who he's graduating and he was taking one of the full level courses in information security management. And I asked him whether it's the risk, how you calculate the risk, and what would you do with residual risk? And I heard silence. Please study this specific topic so well that you will remember this as a multiplication table from your 3rd grade. And risk management is one big profession that pays so well. If you will learn how to apply this risk management skills into your future career, I will guarantee you, you will not be without job. You will be making good money. Okay, I'm going to take a break because I see some people raise the hand. Danya? And Azib, you guys can unmute yourself and talk to me if you have questions.
Yes, this is Azib. I meant to say hi, not question.
Oh, okay. Hello. Yeah, you can lower your hand and it doesn't go away by itself. And I don't think Danya can talk right now, so maybe that's why she's quiet. But yeah, if you have questions while I'm talking, don't be afraid to interrupt me. I'm okay with that. My brain is jumping places when I can talk about one topic and jump to another. That's why I keep on my second screen a lesson plan. So I'm keeping my eyes sometimes there and not on the screen. So just unmute yourself, say excuse me, and ask the question. I would be totally fine with that. No problem. And we talk about risk, and now a few more important topics that we need to. So when we're protecting our data, there's something we need to address, and it's really important. It's CIA triad. It has nothing to do with 3-letter agency. It stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So when we try to provide confidentiality to our data, we need to make sure that only the data can be kept in secret and only authorized person can access this data. When we talk about integrity, we mean that the data remains unchanged or unaltered. And by unchanged and unaltered, I mean unauthorized alteration. Like if somebody has authorization to change the data, it's still under integrity rule. But if somebody had unauthorized access and changed the data, that's when problems hit the fan. So integrity of the data means it's been unchanged, unaltered data. And availability, this data must be available to who has authorization to access this data. Now, why it's called CIT triad? The visual representation of three circles sort of joining each other, and I don't have it on my slide, and I will make it when I'm going to do this recording, where confidentiality, integrity, and availability all in their own separate circle, but you have to have your data somewhere in the middle. It must have all these aspects in place to make sure this data is secure and protected. If we will provide only with confidentiality, well, we can keep our secret data somewhere buried in under like 30 meters of under the ground in this very secure facility with the lock and nobody have access to it. It's very confidential. And integrity probably not gonna get harm from it. But what's up with availability? How someone gonna access this data, right? Then same with the integrity. So we have confidential data. It's available to only people who have access to access this data. But what if this person has something bad in mind and decides to go and alter this data just the way whatever he wants? That's where integrity in place, right? Not in place. Because what do you need to think about it? Like how you will provide integrity. Make sure that your data is actually matched the baselines. And we're going to talk about hashes in the future, but that's what gives integrity of the data, that your data haven't been unaltered. Same with availability. Make it available for anyone. You will have no confidentiality and you will not have any integrity. Wikipedia, that's very good example of availability. Anyone has access to anything on Wikipedia. They also can go and change whatever they want. Is this data confidential? No, it's available publicly. What would provide this CIH to add to the data is authentication and non-repudiation. What is authentication? That you prove that you are authorized to access this data. And sometimes people think that authentication and its authentication authorization, it's just your login and password. We will discuss this a little later, but it is not just login and password. Authentication is basically that you can prove that you are who you say you are. I can call on the phone and try to imitate Michael Jackson voice and say that I'm still alive. So I need to get access to whatever I have left. But can I prove being Michael Jackson? That's not possible. So authentication, basically, you are who you are, and you have to authenticate yourself when you're accessing the data. When authorization is different. You can authenticate yourself as you are. I'm a Lily Morningstar and I want to access this data. Are you authorized to access this data? No, I don't know. Okay, this is secret data in a secret facility and you don't have any clearance. Who you are, why you're here. So I don't have authorization, I cannot access this data. Non-repudiation is, it's assurance that you cannot deny validity of something. When we will talk about cryptography, we're going to discuss this term over and over and over again. But basically, if I send you a message, if I said something to you, by non-repudiation rule, I cannot deny that I didn't. Like right now we have this recording and you hear everything that I say. And if I say later, like, oh, I never told you that, you can go ahead and show me like, well, I have this recording, you just did actually. So that's like on the basic terms, what is non-repudiation. And when it comes to emails, oh, I never sent you this email, but it says you did. Okay, let's see. Maybe somebody tried to authenticate themselves as you are. Is it possible? Okay, for
Yes.
example, it's, well, of course it is possible, but for example, you see that it's a fake email, a spoofed email that sort of comes from your boss and your boss telling you he didn't send it. That's how you know it's some security violation been in place. So
Professor,
that's how yes.
So remember how you said that back in the day, like there was no, obviously there was none of this now where it's easier to hack. Everything was under lock and key. Have you ever seen Mr. Robot? Do you
Yes,
know
of course.
how he would burn all that information onto CDs and then just keep the CDs in the house? Like why can't we just do something like that and lock that up and then this will never happen?
Well,
Right?
let's just say they start filming Mr. Robot in 2015. And maybe security field evolves a little bit too fast. Plus, when you're watching movies, and Mr. Robot actually one of the very accurate movies. So if you like Mr. Robot, if you're learning about cybersecurity from Mr. Robot, there is not everything that part of the movie is movie. There are a lot of things
No, I
that
know
from
that.
the real life, but yeah, many things in that movie you kind of watching and you're thinking like, oh, that's not how it works. But again, maybe it's not how it works now, but it's worked like 10 years ago.
Yeah, true.
Like 10 years
Okay.
ago, if you burn your CDs, there is no way to restore them. 10 years ago, if you shredded your document, there is still likely somebody will try to assemble this from the shredder. But nowadays, everything in the network, there is no more privacy, so we need to think how we're securing it. 5 years ago, cloud was something new, and everybody was like, "Oh, cloud!" And now we hear like everything in the cloud, and cloud comes with its own drawbacks. When you have to realize that IoT is no longer, well, it's still, but is no longer a big deal security problem. We also have a cloud that we need to protect somehow. So this field will not keep you like outdated. You will have to like sort of keep yourself updating, learning and reading and studying and practicing like on a daily basis. There is no time off. You're going on vacation, you take your computer with you. I went to Cabo in June, and I think I spent more time on the computer by the pool than in the pool itself. Okay, so we talk about CIA triad, but now I need to talk about a little bit about information security plan before we will start doing something with hands-on. It's 1:30. I was planning to have at least 1 hour for us to do some labs. And when you're trying to implement security plan for your organization, you need to know about different security frameworks. What are they? How they operate? And in the book, you will find really a lot of different frameworks. One of the assignments right now we're going to do by actually finding these frameworks and learning about them. There are also secure configuration guidelines, or what they call it, baselines. So they're basically like a blueprint that tells you how to implement security, like basic security in your organization and your network. But there are also vendor-specific guides, like Cisco using its own security technologies and security protocols, and they're vendor-free market that you can implement in your network and not think about Cisco very much. So you need to know about all these different security configurations and to create your security plan for organization. Right now, I want all of you to open Google, and we're going to search some frameworks with you. So first of all, I want you to Google security frameworks. And by the way, Googling right now, it's our hands-on. That's why I'm not doing this right now on the screen, because I do want you to do this. So what you can tell from the not even opening pages, just study your Google results. What are security frameworks?
Microsoft
What?
The .NET framework, Windows Presentation Foundations, and Windows Forms.
Okay, all these frameworks don't really have to do anything with the security frameworks we need to talk right now about. So let's try to find something very specific. I want you to Google right now PCI space DSS.
Wait, what was it again?
PCI, Peter, Cat, Ivory, then space, DSS, David, Sam.
Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard.
Excellent. Without even reading about this specific framework, what do you think this framework is covering?
Credit cards, debit cards, personal info.
That's correct. Where do you think this security framework should be implemented? In what type of organizations it should be in place?
Like at bank, like financial institutions, banks, credit unions, creditors.
Yes, it is. But where else?
Data centers.
How we would implement PCI DSS in data center? You can share your thoughts.
Don't they keep record for certain companies of like histories of purchases and things like that?
Excellent. I love it. Amazing. That's really good answer. They do keep. And by PCI DSS rules and regulations, no merchant can store a piece of information from your credit card. We're all using credit cards. And I want you to think, not Google right now, just think from top of your head, what part of this credit card information should not be stored by the merchant?
The number?
The
that you'll be first priority.
Okay, somebody trying to talk, but I only hear echo.
I would say like the security code.
CVC.
Yeah.
That's
Let's
the
see.
3-digit code or 4-digit code if it's American Express that no merchant should store ever. And if you're using like Apple Pay or Google Pay, you know that every time you're using your card for online purchases, it would ask, like it has all your card information, but it would ask you to provide this 3-digit number. And you can actually change that for your own payment information when you don't have to provide it every time. But when you go to the shopping, to the website where you can save your payment information, your credit card, like you're shopping on Walmart, you can save your credit card there. They will ask you at checkout to provide this 3-digit number. They're not keeping this number in their database. How secure this protection? Well, because there's so many incidents of stealing credit card data. This 3-digit data is not very secure. Let's just do simple math in how many tries you can find the right number. Well, the whole reason that if you enter your CVC number multiple times incorrectly to the like online shopping, for example, your card will get blocked. That's why they limited the number of wrong entries. So basically, it's PCI DSS, Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, is non-regulatory framework. Non-regulatory means it's not controlled by the law or rule. It's the framework itself. There is no law that not allows you to keep this 3-digit number, but it is common practice if you implement this security framework in your organization not to store it. That's all. And basically, yes, provides how to guidance how to keep your credit card information and personal data related to this credit card secure. I have here a table with the security goals for PCI DSS. So first goal is build and maintain a secure network. So install and maintain a firewall to protect cardholder data. That's what they suggest. And if you Google it, you also will find this table. It just says security goals for PCI DSS. Do not use vendor supplied defaults. So if you're using your default login and password in any of your devices, well, you're not practicing security. You need to change that. So protect cardholder data, protect stored cardholder data. We just discussed this. Encrypt transmission. So when you do transactions over the network with your credit card information, it must be encrypted. Next goal is maintain vulnerability management program. Updates, antivirus, all this should be in place. Then develop and maintain secure systems and applications. Make sure the software and hardware that you're using for payment transactions is actually up to standards. Implement strong access control messages. Restrict access to the cardholder data for people who don't need to have access to this. So it's based on need to know rule. And here's another great example from my past. When I was working for that company, they were storing customer payment information because they were using this Square payment system, but the Square payment was implemented directly through the website, and the website was hosted in Ukraine, and any information that was entered through the entry fields that goes to the square was also duplicated and stored on this server in Ukraine. When I found this, and I just started working there, like I was like, are you kidding me? Like you hosting your website somewhere in Ukraine, you actually outsource your entire web application security to Ukraine, and our American customers and guests of our country paying for your services through the system and sending directly to Ukraine. Why not to Russia? Maybe we should do this in China. Like just give them all this information. Why not to just say, hey, here's all credit card numbers. Just use them. So that was my big issue in the past, and unfortunately, merchants do this. Don't expect them to be smart. Okay, next, regulatory, monitor, and test networks. So penetration testing and vulnerability assessment also do not take big place in companies, especially small businesses. Nobody is hiring penetration tester to test their like small restaurant network. Nobody would hire you to test how secure their payment system because they already rely on the payment system provider, like on a Square, for example, to give them some level of security, and they sort of trust. So that's the job of this payment system, to hire someone to do vulnerability assessment and penetration testing on their systems. And again, not always in place. And maintain an information security policy. That's the last goal for this standard, for security goals in this standard. And I will not express how important to keep track of any changes or anything you do with your data on your network and who has access to it. But what would provide this is correctly written policy. If you don't have a policy in place in your organization that you should keep track of this data, nobody would keep track of this data. So you need policies that will protect your organization, protect your employees, and protect your data, regardless if it's PCI DSS or just any organization. Next standards that I want to talk, and I want you to use Google again. It's Ivory, S, Sam, O, Austin, ISO. And I will give you about a couple minutes to study about ISO. And specifically, I wanted to find data related to cybersecurity and international organizations for standardization, because there are many ISO standards. That's the main body that provides standards. But I wanted to find, yes.
Can you spell it again?
I as Ivory, S as a Sam, and O as in Austin.
Okay, thank you.
There are quite a few standards that related to cybersecurity. We're not going to cover all of them, at least at this moment. But I wanted to find, let's just say, two main frameworks, ISO frameworks. And I'm not even kidding how important this too, because it's requirements in all large organizations, like Fortune 500 organizations and government bodies, to have this standards in place. I see only like a couple people participating, but I really wish more of you would get involved. And as I said, we're right now doing portion that what would be your labs in this week assignments. So we do this pre-research before we will jump into assignment. Anybody found like very specific ISO standards that related to cybersecurity, information security? And can call what is this standard and what this standard is protecting?
So it looks like there's 6 standards that I found on this one page that I was looking at. And it says quality management, environmental management, health and safety standards, IT security, food
call
safety,
the name?
energy.
The name, the standard name, it's this ISO and numbers.
IEC 27001.
So when we're talking about cybersecurity ISO numbers, I mean ISO framework or standards, we always talk about ISO 2700 series. They're not one document. Anything that starts with 27 and then 001, 002, 003, it would be your cybersecurity portion of ISO. I would suggest you to write it down, and in the future, maybe after the class, well, you will not be able to download this ISO, but just to do some research to read some portions of these documents, because you have to actually pay money to read these documents, and these documents are quite big. They intended for organizations when they're implementing this in their organization to pay money, download, and then implement it. So as a student, you don't need to pay money, you don't need to download, but I want you to research ISO 27001, ISO 27002, and also 27701.
27701?
27701, yes. I'm gonna quickly talk about this. I already Googled and I opened this on my account screen too. I do remember what 27001, 27002, but I needed to Google 27701. So the first one, 27001, is focuses on information security management. So basically, it tells you how, like baseline, how to organize security in your organization. Then 27002 is defines establishing and continuing improvement. So once you install this baseline, you cannot just work with this baseline. You need to improve, right? So this next standard actually defines how to. And then I had to Google this 27701 because my lesson notes actually don't give me a, well, I started writing this lesson notes from the book and I didn't put enough information about the standard. It's your PII, personal identifying information. Basically, this standard will tell about privacy information management system. So it will tell you how to protect your personal identifying information. By the way, this acronym PII, that's what we should use when we're talking about personal identifying information. I'm no longer going to say personal identifying information. It's going to be PII, and you should know what it is. And another one, well, I'm here on Google, came up with ISO 3100. And this is not like well-known cybersecurity, at least for me, for this class, but it's definitely something to pay attention to. Remember, we talk about risk management. So this is standard specifically give you guidelines how to maintain and manage your risk, like how to appraise your valuables, your assets, and how to mitigate this risk, how to approach the risk regarding them. So it's, again, it's probably not going to, well, it's maybe going to be an exam because this is new standard for CompTIA. Okay, so CIS. Please Google this 3 letters. C as a cat, I as an ivory, S as a Sam. And I will share the website with you from this organization where you can for free get training and certifications. So what is CIS?
Is it the Center for Internet Security?
Critical security control, but yes, Center of Internet Security. It is, and it is government body, right? It's specifically for United States. So the previous one was the international. This one is our homegrown body. And it's has top 12 critical security controls. And I want to mention some of them right now, like simplified approach to protecting data. What would be simplified approach? Oh, we don't have to follow the advice from me before. Put all your data on the printed pages and bury in the ground like 20 meters below. Like that's not a simplified approach. Like it's has to be simple enough that people understand how important it is and how to actually address security. And written in easily understandable format. That's what I said. It has to be easily addressable to people who are highly technical and who are not technical at all. It tells how to manage hardware and software assets. Important. What kind of administrative privileges and who can have administrative privileges to the network, to the data, how to handle your mobile devices. And hey, most of the organizations right now allow you to bring your own phone and access their network. So there should be guidelines how to protect your data from these people who bring in their smartphones. And wireless controls. Oh my God, we're gonna talk about wireless, but not right now. If there are way of mismanage your network, it's going to be wireless. Wired network is still physical, requires some physical access when you're trying to tap into the data transmission, right? It's still you need to get access to the cables. But when it's wireless, it's all radio waves. So there should be some security implementations that guided by CIS here, mostly outdated because everything that comes from the government it's already a couple years behind, and it should be encrypted. You should not have easy password. You should never keep vendor issued credentials. Next, actually very important if you will be study for cybersecurity exam in not just Security Plus, but some other cybersecurity exams. And people who doing Cisco, they should actually get familiar with this. And here's the reason why. So there are organizations that call SOC, Service Organization Control. Their framework needs to be implemented. So there are a few types of SOC, and just Google for Service Organization Control. And we're going to talk about 3 types of this SOC and discuss why and who would probably implement it and why it's something that needs to be addressed. Please Google. SOC as S as a Sam, O as in Austin, C as a cat. There are 3 types of SOC. I need you to see in front of your face 3 of them. Read them, and we're going to quickly talk about them. Who wants to tell me anything about type 1?
Integration.
Type 1 of SOC. What is focuses on?
It's
So-
focused on security.
Security of what?
Security Operations Center.
No, we're not talking about SOC as a security operations center. We're talking right now about standards. Service organization control. Service organization control, that's what
But
SOC stands for.
Type 1 report the fairness of the management.
Got a design of controls report.
So type 1 is always focusing on financial reporting.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So now we're gonna sort of jump to the type 3. And what can you find about type 3? I'm making this jump because type 3 is very relevant to type 2, like they 2 brothers standing next to each other. So if you find type 3, you would definitely understand what is type 2 and will be able to explain it.
Is it the NOC?
What is an LC?
No, I'm saying, is it the NOC? Because SOC was number 3, right?
No,
Or 2.
it is SOC, SOC type 3.
Right.
Oh, it's it has to do with the company's integrity, confidentiality, and privacy.
That's correct. So also type 2 does.
The type 3
It
is
focuses on trust principles. And what this type of 2 and type 3 SOC are the same and how they different.
the type 3 is intended for a more
One is
general
publicly
audience.
available.
Okay, somebody is speaking right now, but they barely could hear.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, if you can just increase the value of your microphone if it's possible, unless you're working on something.
How about now?
Yeah, it's better. Okay.
There we go. I was just saying it's the type 3 report is like the type 2, but intended for a more general audience.
That's correct. So when you are running an organization that dealing with customers' data, you have to have type 2 and type 3 certified by SOC. So in type 2, it focuses on the trust principles. Basically, they will make sure that you have strict policies for your organization, and you can actually, in these policies, prove how you're protecting your customer data. In number 3, it's has no private information. It's public. You're absolutely correct. And last but not least, that's just the last we're going to cover right now, is going to be NIST. N as in Nancy, I as in Ivory, S as in Sam, T as in Tom. I want you to Google NIST, and not just Google, but save this link to the NIST page somewhere where it's going to be accessible for you, because we are about to start lab exercise 1-1. I'm opening my paper book right now. My screen space all busy with some other stuff with my notes and everything. So we're gonna be exploring industry framework, but we're gonna work on CIS and NIST. So in lab activity 1-1, you will be researching more about CIS, but I want right now get some feedback on NIST. National Institute of Standards and Technology. I have a friend who just recently got hired by this organization. But Google it, and I want to hear what you can find about this organization, about cybersecurity framework. It's called NIST Cybersecurity Framework. Not a lot to remember, easy. And we're going to quickly, I'm actually going to share my screen right now. Give me 1 second.
So they're an agency that removes major challenges to the U.S. industrial competitiveness. A second
explain-
rate measurement structure.
Can you please explain in your own words?
My own words.
Mhm.
I don't like big words. It's hard for me to break down big words. They support small technologies.
Small and big. Basically, they're giving you guidelines on how to do things. Not just in cybersecurity. Yes, somebody is talking. You can talk.
Yeah.
You just say, "Excuse me," so we can quiet
Oh.
and let you talk.
No, I was just gonna say that it seems like they want to standardize, like all the references and kind of have a standard quality of regular practices for each company.
And I want to tell you for sure, in cybersecurity, we rely on this framework almost everywhere in every organization. And you should be able to see my screen right now. So this is the NIST website. First of all, what are we going to pay attention here? It's a government body. It's not just some random organization. And when something comes with 3-letter GOV, that's something that we might think about as a law. So technically, it is not a law. It's a standard, right? But if this standard sort of tells us by the government, that's probably something we need to pay attention a little bit more. So from this website, we can go to publications and find specific publication. And for example, I don't know like any specific framework right now from top of my head, but how about IoT security? We don't know published date or anything. We're just going to search. And here we go. Here's some really interesting data that you can find and learn about IoT security. I didn't even search for IoT security, but look what I found. In IoT we trust. I think it's interesting article to read, right? Well, let's open that. We're not going to read this in class, but I want you to open and sort of take a time to read after the class or when you have time. Make it your morning toilet reading. Oh, come on. We all do that. We all read something on the...
Correct. You're right.
Ontology-based reasoning about trustworthiness in cyber physical systems. That sounds hell of interesting to me, because when it comes to cyber physical, and I would expect this to be interesting reading too, but maybe not as important right now. Decision support for smart grid. Oh, we have a smart grid. So that's something would be interesting when you're talking about industrial systems, something that protecting our drinking water right now. Modeling the Internet of Things and People, a foundation approach. Boom. I would read that if I want to find out a little bit more how to secure. But that's not frameworks. That's all publications by people who doing research. Is it trustworthy? Yes. Is it legit? Yes. But does it tell me how to implement security in my organization? Not really. That's why I'm gonna go Google right now. NIST cybersecurity framework. Here we go. Okay, this is all ads. We're gonna skip them. And we're going directly to the NIST.government cyber framework. Please save this page for your own reference. As a future cybersecurity professional, this should be your Bible. And you can go through all these links. Here's the framework that we will be studying a little bit. Online learning. They provide so much training for free. And they provide a lot of training not for free, but you can always find what is online, what is, well, majority of stuff online right now. And components of the framework, using benefits of the framework. So it's will give you a lot of understanding on cybersecurity basics and how these frameworks need to be implemented. Like, here are a few documents. Of course, we're not going to read them all, but I want quickly to take a look on this little framework icon picture. What do we see here? How we can describe by just looking at this picture what this framework is about. Like, this talks on its own, right? What this framework is protecting. What is doing, like what this framework is covering.
Isn't it protecting the data from the company? Or, like in the
Pretty
company?
much any data, right?
Yeah.
So this framework would describe what needs to be done, what needs to be implemented to protect data, your assets. Let's not just say data, protect your assets. What does the orange say? Detect. What detect? What does detect would stand for? Remember the CIA triad that we just talked a few minutes ago.
Detect like unauthorized access or network scans, stuff like that.
What's the word that describes all these issues that you just told me?
Integrity.
Vulnerabilities. Detect vulnerabilities.
Mm.
And detect another thing that you can calculate based on vulnerabilities and how often incidents based on these vulnerabilities happened and how valuable your assets. What this term?
Risk.
Risk. Excellent. Respond. What would this respond portion covering?
Incident response.
That's right. That's absolutely correct. So you usually respond when incident already happened, right?
Yep.
When something bad hit the fan and it's already all over your walls, you need to know how to scrap it. So this framework also covers what needs to be done to respond to the ongoing incident or something that already happened and now you need to, what measures you need to implement to actually roll back to normal work environment. And that's where it comes the green one, which is recover. There are few recover methods. We're not gonna cover them all now. It will take another lesson. But recovery methods are also described in this framework. It can be cold site, it can be hot site. It's, did you back up your data? That's the biggest issue with so many organizations. They don't back up their data. And when they get some incident of data loss, or for example, ransomware on their network, they're like, oh, what are we gonna do? I'm like, that's ransomware. We're just gonna basically erase all your hard drives and everything, but you backed up, right? You have everything, right? And they're looking at you like, oh, no, we don't. So yes, framework helps to identify risks, protect these assets, detect if something goes wrong. So that's the risk. And respond if it's already happening, and how to recover after it. So new to the framework. So I need to cover this myself. I haven't been looking at this for quite some time. And online learning, you will be able to find some really useful learning resources here. Now, I want you to open the book on lab activity 1-1 and simultaneously open the submission form. So submission form doesn't really have any information in it. And it's in the discussion board type, so you will be all able to share and see each other answers after you post your own. So how I did this types of assignments, first, before you see anybody answering, you have to post the answer, and then you can create conversation with your classmates. So as you can see, you will need to write answer in writing in discussion board questions 2, 4 through the 8. So we're skipping 1 and 3. And you will receive 7 points for your own reply, but then you will need to have conversation with at least 3 of your classmates. And conversation means like you will have to reply to 3 of your classmates, or you can actually reply to the classmates who replied to your post 3 times to the same person. So it doesn't matter, but 3 additional posts with where you're having conversation with the classmate would be count for additional 3 points, where you get the maximum number of points, 10. Okay. If you don't want to do typing, if you have dyslexia like me and you absolutely hate doing any typing work, you're more than welcome to do voice recording or video recording. It's all up to you how you like to complete this assignment. But what are we gonna do in number 1? Okay, let's read the assignment itself. The Center of Internet Security, we already researched that just a few minutes ago. CIS provides controls for a security framework. In this activity, we will explore an example of a security framework. As you view the framework, consider that it can be used as a baseline for an organization to develop its own specific documentation in security planning. In this exercise, you will briefly look at the example of SIME frameworks. So we started with CIS, and first it's launched this website. We already had this website open, but let's go back, and I'm going to read those other articles, so I'm not closing them. So cybersecurity.org.
Can you tell me where the assignment is? Because I don't have the book. I think I can't access it.
Oh, you don't have a book, right? So if you don't have a book, that's okay. Just follow. Did I misspell it? Just Google CIS. CIS security, and I type cybersecurity. Okay. As I said, I have dyslexia. I see 3 letters and the rest of the word I just usually making up for myself. And ADHD doesn't help here too. Okay, so let's open this website. Number 2 question that you will need to post replies. Locate the About Us link. Let's locate About Us. Which is likely at the bottom of the page. Well, we just found it on the top of the page, but thank you for additional guidance. Review the information about this group, including its goals and mission. What do you think the benefits of using volunteer method to create these controls offers over a for-profit organization? So please read about us. If you decide to watch the video, you can watch the video too. So guys, please make sure you get access to the book as soon as possible. We're not gonna do entire assignment here right now. I'm just giving you hints how we're doing in-book assignments and where we're posting and how we're posting. But that's only one type. Next week, we're going to talk less about what you will read in the book, unless you will. So how I want us to do this class, please read the book chapter before the class meeting. I will try to post my slides with my voice covering those slides also before our meeting. And during the meeting, I want you to be more active, asking questions, talking about topics that you just read and maybe you need to discuss and talk. So more like a discussional, conversational type, okay? And we will spend more time on doing labs than talking. I think hands-on is extremely important. So next week we are actually covering chapter 2 and 3, I think. Let me open my notes because I cannot maintain everything in my memory. Chapter 2 covers week 2, chapter 2 and chapter 3. So you working on your assignments this week, and there are not a lot of assignments. The most difficult assignment would be for you to do virtual machine. If you never done so, I will post as much as I can for you so you can study on your own and try to do it on your own. If you will encounter any issues with your virtualization and not able to use virtual machines on your computer, you need to reach out. We're going to work on this together, or we will order a lab hour for you, or we will order access to the NetLab environment with the virtual machine. So, and from Monday through Tuesday, cover chapter 2 and chapter 3. You have about 10 minutes to post your answer to the question 2. I will reread this question if you still don't have a book. So, review the information about us, about the group, including goals and mission. Now the question, what do you think the benefits of using volunteer method to create 3 controls offers over for-profit organization?
Can you tell me where can I find the questions?
I'm sorry. So you can find the questions at the end of the chapter in the book. You know what I'm gonna do for students right now who don't have access to the book? I'm going to open this book and you're gonna have it shared on the screen so you will have step by step what you need to do. I think that's the proper way of doing right now.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, that's interesting. Why is it not loading?
Mine took a bit to load once it came up.
Okay, they just changed the system. They were using like online PDF form of the book, and I'm like, well, I don't know if you ever or not, but you actually can download this PDF, and they changed this to the e-reader form, but I haven't opened in. I'm old style at this point, but also I will not recommend you to spend money on this book because you will not find the used one. The book just been published like recently, and the book is like $140. So, uh, okay, that's interesting. Let me. Okay, reloading the page always helps. Think like an IT person, right? Okay, I'm going to have this open on your screen right now. And as I said, we have about like 10-15 minutes to complete this assignment together. And then we will call it a day. I'm unfortunately still not feeling 100% and having really bad running nose and sore throat. So probably it's a good idea we didn't meet in person. I don't want to spread my goodies on students.
So do you want us to answer all of those questions right now, or are you just looking for
Yes.
number 2?
Well, I wanted to. I will try us to finish all the labs in class, not like starting next week, of course, but today we're gonna just finish this first guided exercise. So once you complete with that, you don't have to think about it.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. And yes, if you want to discuss, if you want to talk with each other right now, I'm totally for it. That's why I said I do want you to network with each other, ask each other questions, help each other, not provide direct answers. Like if somebody asking you a question, don't tell the answer directly. You don't want this person just to get easy meal. You want this person to get ingredients and cook for himself. That's what I'm gonna do for you in this class. I'm not gonna give you like direct answer how it's supposed to be when it's solution for the lab. I will give you ingredients. Please cook your meal yourself. Same with you. Like if somebody is asking you a question like regarding some assignment or regarding like challenge when we're gonna do like CTFs together, don't just say the
Professor,
answer.
did you say the questions for the review questions and sample security and exam questions?
What do you mean? I think I did not understand your question. You don't know where we're doing this exercise? Where are we supposed to post it? This is one of the lab activity exercises. If you go to assignments, you click on it and just open side by side and answer these questions while you're doing step by step what you need to do from the book.
Yeah, it's a discussion, right? That way you can respond to other people as
Right.
part of that.
Right, but you will not be able to see their answers before you post your own. So once you post it, you're more than welcome to have conversation with each other. The reason I want to do it now is just I'm sort of trying to give you a taste how some of the exercises in the book going to be. So as you can see, this one doesn't even require any additional software installed. It's simple Googling. Somebody wants to talk? Hear background noise?
Sorry, Professor, I was having issues. I had to log out and log back in. Are we
Okay.
doing the sample security and exam questions or review questions or all of it?
Okay, let's go back for a second to our homepage. So here you will find assignments. Study tools are not part of the assignment. Study tools just for you to study. You go here and it says book lab activity 1-1. You're opening, that's where you will be posting answers. But you find this in the book at the end of the chapter, at the end of all the questions, review questions, it says lab activity 1-1. So basically you just do step by step whatever they tell you to do and just post your answers in the reply box. If I didn't have to keep the book assignment open right now, because not all students have access to the book right now. That's the reason I have this on the screen. We would be doing this right now together, like going through these pages and researching. But I need to make sure that students can see the assignment itself.
I took a picture
Because-
of it too.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah, I was
works.
about to say screenshot it.
Yeah, you can screenshot it. Make sure you don't share those screenshots. We all will get in
I
trouble.
got
For
you.
that. Like I actually, when I was signing non-disclosure, it says that I can use like my own book on the screen while I'm lecturing, but it cannot be recorded. And I'm recording right now, so I'm already violating this.
I won't tell
Okay.
if you don't.
Well, I'm not gonna share this video publicly, so. And if they will come for me, I will say it's never happened. Okay, so if you guys already took the screenshots, let's just do it together. So I have this next question that's asking you, from the right side on the screen, select learn about 20 individual CIS controls. They're lying. There is none of them. Well, things change. 20 CIS controls. There's search, also garbage.
It's under the who we are. On that main page, if you go onto the little 3 lines on the top right corner, when you hit that under YCIS, arrow over, there's the about us right there. At the bottom
Okay,
of the page.
that's the page I had open, right?
Yes, controls. Click on CIS control. And then CIS controls are all the way down at the end of the page under programs and memberships. And then from the right side of the screen, 20 individual. Oh shit. No.
If you go to the solutions part of it under, yeah, there you go. You already got it.
It was right on the left menu last time I was doing it. Okay, doesn't matter. We found it. Thank you. So here's some white papers for this. Learn more about CIS controls. You can watch the video. I'm not gonna start it with you. They changed the page like really from the last time I've seen it. I need basic CIS controls.
Where the hell?
I'm gonna Google.
CIS controls implementation groups. There's only 18 listed here. No, this ain't the right area.
They rounded up.
They rounded it up.
I see it's 18. It's not 20 anymore.
18. Yep.
So when this book was written, and this book was written last year during 2020, the page looked different. So they updated, and now it's not 20, it's 18. So here's the web page I found about 20, but we need to stay with the current page, with the current trends. So please write about 18.
We're just basically supposed to list them and give like a brief description.
Yes, exactly. Well, look, question 5 asks, how many controls offered? Now you see only 18, right? 20 is outdated information. So you write it's 18. If somebody will write 20, don't trust them that they did their research. But yes, it's 18 now. I just selected something on the screen. If you can see my screen, SANS top 20. SANS, it's one of the biggest cybersecurity institutes that's providing like certification, training, and frameworks. So they align with the SANS top 20.
Isn't that poster behind you?
Yes, it is. I just
I have
got
the same
certified with them. Did you get it from me?
Yep.
Well, SANS provides really good training that would cost you arm and leg. Like their 5-day training can cost as easy as $8,000. If you decide to go do master's degree in SANS University, you might end up about 100K debt. So will you get a job after graduation with them? Oh yeah, they will make sure they will place you in one of the best places because they very they care about their own image view. So there's scholarship for women and minorities to get into their college. I have a friend who just graduated from them. She won scholarship, and she is woman, Native American, former military. She's veteran, and she also, I believe there was some disability taken place. So they gave her scholarship. They paid, like, her school was completely paid. But when I was talking to her, how was it? She's like, I had no life. I had to quit job to be able to survive in school. But now she works for Black Hills Security, and it's one of the largest cybersecurity organizations in United States, well, in the world actually now, not just. And I think she makes like about over 200,000 right now. So I think it's worth it to just quit your job for a year and a half, or a couple years. I think she was doing masters, and start making that much money, right? But again, if you have to pay back 100K, it's kind of. Okay, number 6, review the first 5 controls. Click the name of each control. Okay, guys, it's 2:40 and I have to apologize. We're not done yet, but I sort of lost control of time. I asked someone to babysit my kid right now because I'm teaching from home, and when I'm teaching from home, it's also not easy to do homeschooling. And I need to go get him right now from my neighbor. Do you guys have any questions before we leave? Okay, if you have general questions regarding the course, regarding material, regarding labs, doesn't matter, please post it in the discussion board, general questions. If you have something personal that you need to discuss privately, private messenger on Canvas, 1, Discord 2. Over Discord, I cannot discuss any student-related stuff. So if it's like personal, like I'm getting sick or cannot make it to the class, I mean, not sensitive, let's just say student-related, but not sensitive topics, then Discord would be your place to go. And if something related to the school, you need to discuss grades, you need to discuss your progress in the class, only Canvas.
Are these 2 lab assignments due today, or?
These 2 lab assignments are due on Sunday, as all of your assignments.
Okay.
Is that
so
is
as
the
they
same? The LulzSec?
LulzSec is the cyber club. It's how
Okay.
they name themselves. Please make sure you register on Discord so you don't have to like follow the link every time. If you will have biggest question during this week about your virtual labs, I mean virtual machines lab, Discord guys will always help you like this from Cyber Club. Reach out to me. I'm also can be helpful, and I will share as much as possible information with you.
Okay. Thanks, Professor.
Okay, guys, have a good week. Hopefully see you next week. Some of you in person, some of you online. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.